In this road to glory, my name's Scott Davidson, and I just transferred to Lumen Christi, one of the best private schools in Michigan. As a 6'8 quarterback who could throw a quarter mile and outrun a deer, everyone told me I had a chance for bigger and better things than the small farm town I was born in. But it was immediately obvious on our first third down of the season that I was new here, and I had zero chemistry with anybody on the team yet. It was exciting though. On the very next drive, our first completion of the year was to the right sideline for a huge gain, and then coach trusted me on 4th and 2 to pick up the gritty yards. I took a huge hit, but it was okay as I delivered my first touchdown pass to Michael Weisbecker right over the middle. Alex Howell was open up the seam on our next drive, and he was someone who I kind of really liked throwing to in practice, and I felt like I'd be able to connect with him a lot in games. I'm able to show off my legs as I scramble up the middle for another touchdown, and then again as we scramble to the sidelines and then deliver another dot to Alex. He seemed to know exactly what I was thinking almost at all times. I throw somebody off of me here, throw another player off of me, but eventually end up eating a giant sack, unfortunately, and then we throw a really bad pick. I'm a little bit worried about our offensive line this season, but right now it's not too much of a worry as we're pretty much doing whatever we want on offense. Michael Weisbecker with another catch, and he gets a touchdown out of it. I had a pretty decent game right here, not the best ever, but we get some interest from some local colleges, and I'm really excited. My goal in week number 2 was to absolutely assert my dominance doing whatever I wanted, and Michael Weisbecker helped me do that on this huge touchdown gain. And then an absolute dot to Gio Saria. He held on in traffic, and I was super impressed by that. I ended up running between the tackles, which is something with my 6'8 frame a lot of people questioned whether or not I could do, and we even scored a rushing touchdown off a little loop-de-doop. Now, I do have an issue of trying to do too much sometimes. I'm a little bit of a gunslinger, and we took a bad penalty, but Bill Wilson right open over the middle for a huge touchdown, and then again, my legs show off right here, but we get a little cocky. I end up hurting my head coming down on this hurdle, and we fumbled the ball. We got the ball right back, scored another rushing touchdown, and the team was electric after this W. I had nearly 500 total yards, and I got my first scholarship offer from a school that was actually pretty close to home. St. Joseph was 0-2, and they were a school that even at my old school, I felt like we could beat pretty easily. I got a little too cocky and threw a really bad interception. Coach was not happy with me, and I was pretty upset myself. Our defense got us the ball back, and I launched an absolute bomb deep downfield. We ended up catching it. I was so mad that I decided to go hurry up and take the ball myself right up the middle for a gain of 9, and then again off the right side all the way down to about the 2. I was mad that I couldn't get in, but I decided to hand it off to our fullback, even though I wanted to take it myself so badly. Again, try to be too much of a gunslinger. I tried doing way too much, and we throw another terrible pick. I am so lucky, though, that my worst game came against a team like St. Joseph that was so bad. And again, our offensive line lets people come in so easily. I'm able to evade them, but there's just not much I can do when I'm getting hit immediately. Alex Howell and I had become pretty good friends, so I was a little bit disappointed that he never really seemed to get open, but Gio Saria was having the game of his lifetime. As I rushed in for another touchdown, this game was nationally televised, and I got another scholarship offer afterwards. Week 4 was here, and while I was blessed to receive the offers I had, I wanted more. And this made me play way too aggressive against Alma, where I immediately fumbled on the first drive, and then only up 7 coming out of half, I threw a terrible pick 6, and I didn't know what I was doing. Coach threatened to bench me, and I knew if we didn't pick up this 3rd and 17 that I was probably done for the game. So what do? I deliver an absolute laser deep down the middle of the field for a huge gain, and then immediately follow that up by one of the nicest throws that's going to get me on the radar of every single college coach that sees it. They blow their coverage over the middle of the field, and this just goes to show how lethal I am with my arm of being able to hit receivers in stride for huge gains. Now, again, with my legs, I'm able to pick up a nice little scamper and then toss it out to Howell for a really good gain. I was playing with so much passion that even when I got sacked, I refused to get sacked. Our stat line for this game wasn't insane, but I think college coaches liked my resiliency as a ton of schools from around the country started offering me. Coming off that extremely good second half performance last week, I wanted to prove that I could be consistently one of the best quarterbacks in the nation, not just to college coaches, but to my literal teammates. I'm able to hit right up the seam, and then I'm able to use my legs for a huge gain. I wanted to show everybody that I was every single game one of the best quarterbacks, and not just a streaky player like I'd started to get the reputation of. We scramble out to the right side on 4th and goal, and then right before half, I'm able to punch it in, and this was just such a testament to how gritty I was able to play, able to outrun the DN who's trying to get me, and this is something that you just can't teach this type of thing. Now, I think I got a horse collar right there, but they didn't call anything. Coach took me out because I was a little bit sore, and we ended up getting so many huge offers, and I accomplished the goal of proving myself to some of these college coaches. The playoffs were just over 2 weeks away, and now my only goal was to make sure that we were so ready to perform well in the playoffs and become state champions. I was starting to get a little stressed out about making my college decision, so I put all of that behind me. A lot of people are wondering if I'm going to stay home, if I'm going to go back to the small town and go to college near there, whether I'm going to go to the big Michigan university. I have no idea what I'm going to do yet. I got player of the game with nearly 500 total yards, and I finally broke the ESPN top 150 at rank 123. The final game of the season was against some school from out of state named Bishop Sycamore. Now, these guys couldn't tackle at all, but also I couldn't throw the ball at all, and I just looked like a total idiot. Now, we end up eating a sack, and I'm having, again, offensive line issues and frustrations, which leads to me throwing one of the worst pick sixes of my career. I have this issue of when I throw a pick, it goes back for 6, which isn't a great issue. Now, Alex is going to make a great player out there. He absolutely read my mind going up the field, and I'm able to hit him in the seam right after that. And it's so nice to see him get back on track after a few quiet weeks. The speed option is something that I don't love running still, but we're able to get it, and my legs are able to be utilized for another touchdown. I show off my arm again to Alex, and he had one of his career games. Unfortunately, he didn't score on that one, so we had to call another pass play from the one, and I watched as Bishop Sycamore lost by over 27 points, and we sacked him to end the game. We had an awesome game right here, and I became a 5-star recruit and started getting interest from Texas schools. It was time for the first round of playoffs, and I came out guns a-blazing, able to hit my receivers in stride for huge gains. Look at this pass right up the middle against this cover 2. It's an absolute dot that we end up scoring on this drive. Unfortunately, while I was doing really well, Alex got blown up on a 3rd and 5 draw called and ended up fumbling. This took our 7-point lead, and they ended up tying it up and making it 7-7 when we actually had a chance to take a huge lead. This led to a little bit of a meltdown as the pocket collapsed around me, and I ended up taking another sack. Thankfully, our defense actually was the one that ended up scoring for us, but we still had such frustration with the offensive line right before half that I said screw it and just ran the ball and walked off the field angry. Coming out of halftime, though, we saw a huge 3rd and 19 that I ended up making my check down to the flat, and we ended up getting that first down somehow. Alex had another drop, and I gave it to myself here on the goal line to make sure I scored. Our defense got another stop, and I was able to hit our receiver in the middle of the field for another touchdown. We won the game, but I was worried about Alex. I remained a 5-star recruit, and I had a pretty decent stat line that game. When the next week rolled around, I could not believe my eyes. I was now ranked the 59th recruit in the country, and our next round, though, was against Ithaca, who gave us some issues in the first week of the season. Coach wanted to establish the ground game early, so that's exactly what we did, and he was right that getting the ground game going was going to get the linebackers to scoot up, and I'd be able to pass right over them. I used my legs, and I'm able to get into the end zone on the sideline with a really impressive run, and then the option actually ends up working with us where I get it to Bill Wilson for a huge gain, which is honestly, that option's so tough for me to run, so I was really happy that we were able to get it. Absolute laser over the middle of the field again. So many teams try to hit us with cover 2, and we're so able to exploit it. Now, right before half, less than 2 minutes left, we're only up 8 points. We get a huge ag on the right sideline. He absolutely mossed the defender, and we have to take advantage of it, but I end up choking. I get blown up in the backfield and lose the ball. Thankfully, our defense strikes right back and gets us the ball, and just a tale as old as time, we're able to hit the middle of the field for a touchdown. I watch us take a 18-point lead, and that seals the deal. I have another great game, and now it is time for the next round of the playoffs, the semifinals. Marshall was a team that I honestly felt like shouldn't be here, and I wanted to make sure that they knew that. I launched myself into the end zone, but came up a little bit short, and that kind of hurt a little bit, so I got Alex going with a nice little toss, and he scored the 2-yard rushing touchdown. We drop back again, and this time we're delivering another laser into such a tight pocket over the middle of the field, and my legs are able to get me all the way down to the 1-yard line. Unfortunately, that was the end of the half, so we didn't score, but we're up 24 points right here in the third quarter. The offensive line did such a great job right there that our receiver was able to work his way open, but that was really on our offensive line. I rush in for another touchdown, and the team is so happy. We're going to the state championship. I had an awesome game, and now it's time to finish what we started. The state championship was, of course, held in the big house, which made me start thinking again about where am I going to end up going to college. There's so many different places. I could stay in state, and a lot of people are expecting me to go here to U of M. Coach dials up an awesome play action call on the 8-yard line that gets dropped in the corner of the end end zone, so we're only up 3 after our first possession. It was really nice to see, though, Alex getting open in the middle of the field, as we needed him to play well to have a good chance of winning this game and solidify both of our chances to get into college. Another triple option call gets me a wide open lane into the right corner of the end zone, and with only a few seconds left in half, up 17, Alex gets separation and we're able to throw an absolute laser to him. I watched the final seconds tick off the clock as a backup quarterback commanded the offense, and we became state champions. Handshakes, hugs, and kisses all around, boys. We have done what we're looking to do, but now it's time for me to make a decision. Stay in my state and become a third stringer for the University of Michigan, go down to Texas and become a freaking Longhorn, or stay right next to my hometown and become a true freshman starter at Western Michigan University. I shocked everybody and I said, nah, I'm gonna go to California and become a Bruin, baby. I came in as a second string, and in my very first practice, I was running the scout team, helping my defense prepare for Nevada. But even though it was just a practice and I was representing not even our own offense, I wanted to show Chip Kelly what I could do, and I was delivering absolute dots over the middle of the field and even using my legs and showing him how much of a dual threat quarterback I could be. We ended up dropping back again right here and trying to thread the needle on this throw, but we end up dropping it, and I'm a little bit upset, but I kind of left my receiver out to dry. Unfortunately, though, we end the practice on a bad note with a pick, and somehow that's the memory that stuck with Chip Kelly. We go into our very first game. I'm so amazed by how many UCLA fans there are. It's so much bigger than my high school. I had the pleasure of holding the kicker's balls as he finished through the upright throughout this season, and while I didn't play, we had a great win over Nevada. The next week was a bye week, which meant I actually got to head the offense that we were actually running underneath Chip Kelly, and things were going awesome. I was delivering dots over the middle, and even through my very first practice touchdown, while I got hit to the deep right corner of the end zone, about a 50-yard gain. Although that got me a little bit maybe too excited, and I tried to hurdle a defender, and I fumbled the ball about 15 yards forward. Chip Kelly was not very happy about that, and the next week I had to head the scout team while we prepared to head over to Cornhusker country and play Nebraska. It was a decent practice. I showed off my legs per usual. There was a lot of deep routes in this offense. I really wasn't able to check down underneath. When we got into Cornhusker territory, the entire place was just red. Per usual, I got to hold the kicker's balls, and as time expired in the fourth, they threw up a Hail Mary that we picked off, and we were going to overtime, and this was an absolute test for us. We ended up winning on the final play of the game, and again, I didn't get to play besides holding the kicker's balls, but I was pretty happy. Maybe this is cocky, but our next game was against Coastal Carolina, and I kind of felt like in practice, I didn't need to prepare my defense as much as I needed to show off what I could do. Unfortunately, I fumbled really early, and Coach was not happy about that, and we end up eating a sack that I felt like I couldn't do anything about, but Coach wasn't happy about that either. I show off my legs and just roll to the left side, plant my feet, and deliver an absolute laser to the left sideline, but we weren't able to score. I had to watch this game from the bench, and actually, it was a pretty close game. I was hoping that we'd be able to get in. We end up winning, though, and our next week, again, is a bye, so I get to run Chip Kelly's offense and show off what I can do, and I pull off one of the best runs of my career right there. It would make multiple people miss, even though I didn't score, but on the very next play, that time, I am able to score. I take it up the right sideline, and I am freaking ecstatic. Another absolute beam over the middle of the field to Atamala, and now we have one more drop back looking for the right side, and I throw a pick. Coach was upset. We're traveling to Utah to take on the number 25 ranked team, and their fan base I feel like wasn't as impressive as I had thought. We end up getting a quick touchdown, and I get to hold the kicker's balls once again in the third quarter as we take a 13-point lead. The fourth quarter gets out of hand as we win 34-7, and now we officially got ranked, and I'm happy about my second string role and just how the team's doing right now. Our next practice is one that I will never forget. It is the practice that made me realize that maybe, even though I was a true freshman, that I didn't have to be a second string. That I could maybe compete for a starting job. I'm able to roll out to the left side and show off my legs as I cut in and out of defenders and take it all the way to the crib for a touchdown, and I launch myself in there. Coach loved that. Another scramble to the right sideline, and we were able to protect the ball and get out of bounds, something that usually I would go for extra yardage, and then I deliver an absolute beam up the seam into a really tight window. I am feeling on fire right now. There is nothing I can do wrong, I feel like, and I think I actually might have a chance to compete for this starting job right here. Looking over the middle again. I don't know if that was blown coverage or not by the first string defense, but it doesn't matter, as I'm able to hit the middle of the field over and over again. And Coach said if I keep working, I'll be able to actually compete for that starting job. I saw this game against 2-3 Cal as an opportunity to maybe not just hold the kicker's balls as he finishes, but even get into the game. Unfortunately, Cal had different plans, as in the third quarter, they get a huge sack, and we're only able to take a 6-point lead. So we're going to see Cal get the ball back and drive down the field. Tekaloa, I don't even know who that quarterback is, I'll be 100% honest with you, delivered an absolute beam to the left sideline. And while our fans are still drunk and pretty happy because they're just college kids and have no clue what's going on, I'm conflicted. Am I happy that the quarterback, that Dorian, is doing bad? I don't know. I have no idea. Him doing bad means that maybe I get the starting job, but him doing good means that we win, obviously. On 4th and 7, Dorian Robinson drops back and throws a pick over the middle, and we were 4-0 in the 23rd ranked team, and we just blew it. We just lost that game. We should have won. I'm the second string now, but I feel like I'm pretty close to being the first string now, right? I hit a corner route on the left sideline in the next practice, and while vibes are pretty low, I guess this is my opportunity. And again, I get told by coach that next week I'm going to have an opportunity to play. It was time for me to officially challenge the number 1 string, and things were pretty intense. I was really, really worried, and I had to rely, obviously, a lot on my receivers to hold on to balls that I gave them and my blocks to hold up. Thankfully, that was happening, and while I got a little risky with some throws, we were able to come down with them, and things were looking actually pretty decent right now for us to be able to take over this first-round spot or this first string spot. We rolled to the left sideline and threw it off our side foot. Unfortunately, it got picked off, which killed any chance of us doing that. I had to watch from the sidelines again as we played number 21 Oregon, and Dorian did a pretty good job, honestly. We ended up winning by quite a bit. It was a privilege, per usual, to hold the kicker's balls, and we moved into the next week. These position battles kind of became tolling on me mentally, you see, because while every week it seemed like I had the opportunity to take over the first string and get my first ever college start, or even just real college playing time, not holding on to a pair of balls, I kept failing. Over and over again, I kept failing, week after week. I was delivering pretty good dots, but I would throw the occasional pick, or I felt like my O-line would let me down. On this one, I ended up rolling out to the right side and getting a really good block and getting out of bounds. I'm doing a better job of holding onto the ball, but it will always be an issue. And on plays like this, where I just try to make too much happen because I want that first-round spot, we end up blowing out Arizona, and I don't know. Week 13, we were ranked 16, and I had, again, another position battle. But this time, things were maybe different. I just kept on. Typically, something would go wrong, and just nothing did. And on the second to last play, I found my wheel route open deep and delivered an absolute ball in stride. It was a touchdown, and we had just won. I have the starting job now. I'm going to be going to play at UCLA and be the starting quarterback, and breaking the huddle for the first time against Arizona State was absolutely awe-inspiring, seeing all the fans in the crowd. My first play, I roll to the right side and immediately make use of my legs and get out of bounds. I don't try hurling them like an idiot. I throw a dot to the right sideline on a deep out route, and things are looking really, really good on my first drive. That was a tough ball to our running back, and he was able to hold on, which I was grateful for, and I send a receiver in motion on a drag across the middle of the field, opens up this deep in route, and my first collegiate touchdown has now been thrown. But after that, things didn't go as well. An incompletion was followed by a bad read on a pitch key that I got tackled for a loss on. 3rd and 12, I roll out to the right sideline, and things are dropped right there. I felt like it was open, but we couldn't get it. And on 2nd and 3, I get things kind of going to the halfback, and he runs so hard, dude. He fights. I don't think that I should get credited for those yards, but I do. A read option gets absolutely blown up, and Arizona State is looking to pull off the upset against us. We're only up 2 points. I take a huge sack on 4th and 9, and coach is not happy about it. Our next drive, though, we're still up 2 points. Our defense is doing a good job, but I throw one of those picks, dude. Always. I always do. And right there, yeah, it was just a dumb read. We're down 8 right now, but if I know if I can lead a comeback, there's still hope to be had. Their defense is just really good. I'm able to throw another out route, and those seem to be open pretty consistently, but now I'm trying to force things a little bit too much. Bobo's able to hold it onto it in traffic, but after taking a terrible sack on 2nd and 27, we're looking to roll out to the right sideline, and I eat another sack. I went from holding balls to eating sacks, and now I'm injured. I had to watch the rest of the game from the sidelines, and not only was I injured, I got benched. The team was happy that we escaped the upset, but what does that mean for me? The next week, Chip Kelly confirmed that I had been benched and I was the second string quarterback. And honestly, I don't know. I was able to deliver some pretty good plays in practice, but I kind of felt like that was my opportunity. And not only did I play bad, I got hurt in it. So what does it matter after that, you know? He keeps telling me that I'm going to have the opportunity to play, but it doesn't feel like it. I keep on making bad play after bad play. We play Pitt in the Holiday Bowl, and we are the number 11 team playing Pitt. It feels like such a letdown, but things are still up until they're not. Pitt takes a 31-28 lead with 1 second left in the game, and Dorian Robinson has to launch a Hail Mary right here, but it's just too little, too late, I guess. I don't know. We're not able to do anything with it. We end up losing, and I finished that year with my freshman year with 16 for 25, a couple tutties. It was my first ever season, and now I know I'm going to have my next season pretty much defined as the backup to Dorian Robinson again. And I don't think I want that. I think maybe I should leave. I transferred to the University of Michigan for my junior year, determined to change the narrative of my career and win a national championship. Our first game in the maize and blue was against number 13 ranked Oregon State, and I knew we had to come out guns a-blazing to show everybody that I was the QB of the future for this team. And on a 4th and 2, on our very first drive of the season, we got the go-ahead. Over the middle, we see Amorian walk. We throw a laser to him. He's able to pick up the yardage, and we're going to keep on moving, baby. We roll out to the right side, 3rd and 10. I'm looking to make something happen, but I am disciplined, and I throw it away, and we kick 3 on our first drive. Not the best thing ever, but not the worst. But in the second quarter, close to halftime, we get our first passing touchdown over the middle and then strike right back again before halftime to start taking a big lead on these Beavers. I am hitting my routes in stride. I am feeling like an absolute dog on the virtual gridiron right now. And a pause play to the right side in the third quarter gets us a big lead to give us our first W of the season. I was player of the game with over 400 total yards, and this got us ranked in the top 22 heading into our next game against the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where I was throwing absolute ropes. I was super happy that Jim Harbaugh was letting me use my legs as we called a lot of read options, and I was fighting for every single yard. I wanted to win over this fan base, so on 4th and 2, we scrambled to the right side, launched ourselves into the end zone. I got flipped over and lost the ball. It looked like WWE, but it wasn't. And on the next couple of drives, every time I dropped back, I had a couple guys coming in my face, and I was never able to finish the play. We roll out to the right side, though, on this read option and take off for a gain of 21. Throw somebody off us. We're getting a lot more. Throw another dude off. And now we're all the way down to the 3-yard line. Another keeper up the middle, and we score a rushing touchdown. We dominate that game and come home with a W. The next game was against the Utes, who are ranked number 7 in the nation. We started the drive with a huge dot, and we're also in Utah right now. So this is a big road game for us. I deliver a Seaman Demon laser over the left side, and then hit another one to the right to Anthony Walker to get us down into the red zone. A play action, Anthony Walker gets over the linebacker over the middle for a tutty. 21-19 in the third quarter. We get absolutely molloped on defense, and we have to punt the ball away. And when we get the ball back, we're down 4 just before the fourth quarter. This out route was wide open, and then on the speed option, I throw somebody off of me, and I'm able to pick up the first down, picking up really tough yards. On 1st and 10, now we're into the fourth quarter, I'm able to use my legs as the play breaks down and deliver one of the finest dots I've done, finding my way all the way back across the middle of the field, and then another laser in the middle, up 3. We're looking to give ourselves a bigger lead, secure the game. We hurdle somebody, we're into the end zone, and we just took down the number 7 ranked Utes, and I'm the player of the game once again. In the next practice, Coach Harbaugh wanted to see me make plays but also remain disciplined, and that's exactly what I did, which earned his trust even more and made me one of his most valued starters. Our next game was for the Little Brown Jug against 0-4 Minnesota, which was a really easy W for us. Honestly, it was almost like we didn't even play them. Our following game was against Purdue, where I was able to rack up some rushing touchdowns for another easy W, and we were moving. Against BYU, they were just blowing their coverage wide open over the middle of the field deep, and we were able to take huge advantage as we were the number 5 ranked team in the nation. Although things got a little scary at the end, we were only up 7 in the fourth quarter, but thankfully we were able to laser our way down into the end zone, and eventually a rushing touchdown was able to win this game. I was now number 4 in the Heisman watch, and this entire season was a blur so far and felt like a dream, but we were playing number 3 ranked Penn State, who was also undefeated inside the Big Ten. The game against Penn State was obviously humongous for us. We rolled out to the left side, and I was able to find somebody open deep late down the sideline, but a late flag ends up coming in, and that was 3rd down, so we get pushed back Unfortunately, to a 4th down, it kills our first drive, and that is really, really costly against a team that's as good as Penn State is. They get the ball back, and eventually we are down 7 right before half. We are in a 2-minute drill right now. I hit an out route to the left side, or deep corner rather. We hurry to the line. Get to the line, I yell. 7 seconds left. We find an out route open on the left side, but I have a bad throw and it's picked off. I have to chase him down on the sideline, deliver a huge hit, but we're into the second half now, down 7, and Penn State's defense is looking mighty stiff right now. They're up a whole 7, and on 3rd and 13, Harbaugh calls a screen. We throw it out, and our halfback fumbles it. And that's just something that we wouldn't have picked up the first down anyways, but we couldn't afford it. 3rd and inches, our defense needs to get a stop, but the quarterback scrambles for it, and we're down 21 right before the end of the 3rd. I try to force a deep ball, but I underthrow it. My arm's kind of selling me this game, and we're down 21 without ball. This was our first loss, and this was worrisome. We dropped number 9. Michigan State was 4-3 heading into the next week, but this was a fight for the Paul Bunyan Trophy, so they couldn't be overlooked. I had to roll out to the right side as a pocket collapsed, and we hit a deep post route as he got close to the sideline. He was running for extra yards, but received CTE. Thankfully, our doctors don't diagnose that, so he was still able to stick in the game. We roll out to the left side on 2nd and 4 and found our streak wide open down that side. I'm getting a little flustered in the pocket, but thankfully it's not costing me yet. We were quickly able to answer in the 3rd quarter when we were trailing by 2 by throwing this touchdown over the middle. Scrambled to the left side again. We toe tap the sideline, but I'm not able to get in, unfortunately. Jim Harbaugh did let me get a rushing touchdown, though, which I was very happy for. And up 7 with ball, we kneel it out, and we're heading to our game against Nebraska. This was our first snow game here, and we were doing absolute demonic things to the Huskers defense. 17-10, we're looking to close this game out, hitting this post route to Clements again, and this time, instead of getting CTE, he makes everybody miss and is off to the races. He did get caught, though, but we deliver a dot to Dixon, and we score another touchdown to beat the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Heading into our game against Iowa, it's 53 seconds left in the 4th, and we're actually losing somehow. If we lose this game, the national championship hopes are dead. Thankfully, they blew their coverage at the worst possible time for them, and we're able to hit that streak way down the middle of the field. We get tackled short, so I say, get to the line! We end up snapping it, and their defender had not yet gotten to the line, so there's an offsides flag, so I take a sack, but it's totally fine. 2nd and goal, we roll to the left side. Nothing's open, but I throw people off of me as we get into the end zone. The PAT was okay, and we just have to stop a Hail Mary. They launch it deep to the left side, and the receiver, Bruce the Fourth, puts his ball sack on our DB's face. They get one more play because they don't have a kicker, and thankfully we pick it off. In week 14, it was finally time for the game, and Ohio State was ranked number 1 at 11-0 in the nation. We were kicking off, and this was my first time ever being in this type of atmosphere, and especially in the snow, it was absolutely amazing. This is where I played my state championship game in high school 3 years prior, and I was ready to make my hometown team proud. Looking on the left sideline, we start off with a bang as we get a streak wide open up the left sideline. Anthony throws the defender off him. I thought he was going to get taken down, and Andrell Anthony scores the opening touchdown off a huge streak. Our defense gets a stop, and we're already up 7-0, and I see up the seam, we have another wide open streak. They blew their coverage deep again, and we're able to score another tutty. 17-14 now, we're up just 3 right before the half, and I'm able to put a little blender move on this guy, and we're rolling to the left side this time, looking to get into the end zone, and I receive CTE of myself, but they count the 7. We're up 10 now in the 4th quarter. We're able to hit this over route to Anthony Walker, and with this run into the end zone on the right side, we're able to defeat Ohio State 31-21. The frat boys are going crazy. You know they're going to be skiing tonight, and we are the player of the game with almost 400 yards and 4 total touchdowns. This season has been an absolute dream. I finished number 2 in the Heisman ranking, unfortunately, but now it's time for the national championship. We had lost to Penn State earlier this year, but now we're the number 1 seed. This was the biggest game of my life. I had dreamed about this ever since I was a kid and first started playing football. Penn State was up 7-0 when we first got the ball, and I knew that we had to put together a nice drive. I'm able to hit this deep corner route on the right side to Tyler Morris, and then on 2nd and 18, we hit this screen over the middle, and Anthony Dixon is able to take it all the way to a first down after an awesome rack. Our first touchdown was over the middle, and now in the 2nd quarter, we're down 7 points, and I'm throwing defenders off me, doing whatever I can to put the team on my back, rolling to the right side right before half. We're going to get a one-on-one, and we get flipped into the end zone, and we're able to score. This is a shootout, though, and in the 4th quarter, we're down 7, 35-42, and Jim Harbaugh is letting me do whatever I can to make this thing happen. 3rd and inches, we're looking over the middle of the field and able to hit Anthony Walker for a short gain, and as time's still ticking at 1:30, we're able to hit this out route to the left side, but he drops it. I take the speed option inside, I come up short, and on 3rd and goal, I read it correctly, but a linebacker blows me up. 4th and goal. We have to make a play happen. I'm rolling to the right side. I don't have anything open that I feel comfortable getting, but we're able to scramble in, and the PAT's up and through. We're able to tie this game and send it into OT for the national championship. Penn State started with the ball, and our defense came up with a crucial stop, holding him to just 3, so a touchdown 1. We have an ISO to the left side and bunch to the right. We're looking for this post route over the middle after the fake handoff. We're going to have it. Omari Walker catches. He's going to get close to the end zone. No, he's not there. He's not there. We get to the line. We're going to run the same play. It's going to be another fake handoff to the left, but I get pile driven into the ground, face down, booty up style. 2nd and goal. Looking. Slants open over the middle. Touchdown, Wolverines. Scott Davidson's the national champion. Jim Harbaugh's the national champion. And the Michigan Wolverines are national champions. I had 500 total yards and 7 tutties. My job at Michigan wasn't done yet, though. I wanted to go back-to-back, and I wanted my Heisman Trophy. If you like that video, check out this one right here, where I started the journey of my 5-star quarterback and attempted to win a state championship. My freshman year at UCLA was miserable, but with Dorian Thompson-Robinson graduating, I decided to turn down all of my transfer options and give the Bruins one more shot in my sophomore year. Now, I was starting the season as a 2nd-string quarterback, but I was sitting behind Christian Grubb, who I felt like it was obvious I was more talented than. So in the first few practices of the year, I said, you know what? I'm just going to throw absolute piss missiles. And that's exactly what I did. I decided to show off my legs a little bit because that is the type of quarterback I am. I'm 6'8". I run like a gazelle out there, baby girl. Throwing absolute ropes over the middle of the field. And I knew come week 4, it was time for me to fight for that starting job. Our team wasn't doing very hot. And off my back foot, we were able to hit it over the middle of the field. And our receivers are fighting for us. They need a new quarterback. Now, I was kind of pissed that the defense was doing backflips to deflect my passes, but it was what it was. We threw another rope and another rope to Jake Bobo as he catches my balls and put it in his mouth. We are the new starting quarterback, and it comes at a good time where the team is 0-3, and we're heading into play 0-3 Utah. We need a win here. This was just the 2nd start of my career, where last year when I got a start, I ended up getting hurt super early and never saw the field again. Chip Kelly calls a read option to start off my season, and we get a nice gain of 11, throwing a defender off of us. A few plays later, we go with the quarterback draw right up the middle, and I realize that Chip Kelly wants to use my giraffe-like legs, and on our first pass play of the year, coming off a little play action, we're able to hit our tight end over the middle. Now, it's another drop back pass, so I'm able to roll out to the right side. We're going to be taking up that right sideline, and I will smartly go out of bounds. I'm not going to be taking the big hits like I used to, but 1st and goal, we take a huge sack, and I end up getting hurt and having to watch from the sidelines as we are able to score a touchdown, which is very nice. We're able to resume the game, though, before the 1st quarter ends, so I'm happy to be back in. Chip tried to call some goal line stuff on 3rd and 18, but I say, no, Chip, I got this, okay? Deliver an absolute laser to Logan Loya on the right sideline. An absolute, that's a hard throw right there. And my first passing touchdown of the sophomore year over the middle. I'm now 5 for 5 for 81 yards and a tutty. Up 14 with just over a minute to go. I deliver one of the best throws of my, not just the season, but of my career right there. We're up 21-17 now in the 4th. They ended up making a little bit of a comeback, but we use my legs to be able to kind of ice this game right here. A read option gets a huge gain, then another read option lets me prance into the end zone, and we have just changed this team, boys. We won our first start. Going into the following week, I just had to secure the position, so I'm going to drop some dimes. My name is Danny, and I'm obviously the starter again after that. Now, we are 1-3 overall, but 1-1 in the conference. Obviously, not going to be going to any big-time bowl games more likely than not, but maybe could fight for the conference. And it's going to start right here against this game in Colorado. We start off with a read option, get absolutely bagged, and then on 3rd and 10, Coach Kelly decides to run a halfback draw. I hate that call, and we get stopped. Our defense got a safety, and I deliver a dot to Pegan down the left seam, and then we deliver to Jake Bobo in the middle. A handoff, it gets our running back a rushing touchdown, and while I don't mind getting them some rushing touchdowns, I would like some stats myself. It's the 4th quarter right now, and it's 20-20. I'm leading a money drive right now. This is what the team needs. This is something that we would have lost a few weeks ago before I was a starting quarterback, and I am ready to deliver the goods. There's kind of a horse collar right there, but it doesn't get called. We kicked 3. I'm happy I was able to lead my team all the way down there. Wasn't able to score a tutty, but the defense stops the Hail Mary attempt, and we have just won another conference game. It's time for my 3rd start of the season. This is a huge game. I look sharp in practice, and we have to be able to beat Cal. We are in Berkeley, and we are delivering dots to begin this game. We're down 7-0 early, but a 3rd and 2 draw call gets blown up, and then on 4th and 4, Chip calls another draw. I'm losing my mind, man. I'm losing my mind. Down 7-0 still, though, in the 2nd quarter, and this is where Yeah, now Chip is probably losing his mind at me. I thought I could fit it in over the backer. Gamble got up there and picked it. Great play by him, dude. I'm not taking any of the blame. Never take the blame, boys. Always deflect it. Down 10-0 right now. It's still a ball game, but I get hurt after taking a hit. I just cannot stay healthy, bro. And by the time I get back in the game, we're down 24-3. I am able to scramble to the right side and get a rushing touchdown, which is cool for the stat line, I guess, but oh, that's my first loss as a starter. That disappointing loss moves us to 2-4 overall and me 2-1 as a starter this year. Now, against Memphis, we're down 10 points with 2 minutes remaining. I tell my boys, get to the line, get to the line. We have no time here to be dinking around. We're looking for a seam. We're looking for anything deep, need a little bit of help, and we're able to deliver a laser to Logan Loyal. He's not able to get into the end zone. I say, get to the line, and deliver an absolute beam to Logan again to cut the lead down to just 3. We're able to get a stop, and they have to punt on 4th and inches. They could have went for the win, but they go for the punt because they are scared, and they put the ball in the hands of Scott Davidson. I roll to the right side, able to hit a deep crossing route, and on 1st and 10 with 25 seconds left, I want to force something. The old Scott Davidson would have forced something, but that was a disciplined throwaway, and Logan Loya again sprawling out, heels face down, booty up, but I say, get to the line. Get to the line. 18 seconds left. Clock is ticking. Looking right side. Have the right seam. Bang! Touchdown. 2 seconds left. Memphis has to go for a Hail Mary. The defense forces a sack fumble. We recover. One of the most unlikely comebacks ever. We're able to win. This team has fight. This team has grit. My comeback, our comeback, was played on ESPN the entire week. I put the entire nation on notice. I finished as a player of the game with 300 total passing yards and 4 tutties. We legitimately feel unstoppable. And while we're playing a way better number 7 overall Oregon Ducks team with a tie ball game in the 4th quarter, 24-24 after Butterfield puts this kick up and through, Scott Davidson has another money drive. We hit the halfback over the middle of the field, and we are looking. We have so much time right here. Chip Kelly called 3 hitches and a slant. I hate his play calls, dude, but we're able to make something happen. Logan Loya getting us close to field goal range, able to hit another dot on the right sideline, and coach called a run play, so I just simulated it, and our halfback fumbled. Oh my gosh, we were able to get a stop as regulation expired, which forced OT. 1st and 10, our first play of OT gets blown up, and on 3rd and 14, nothing is open for the first down marker. I try to make something happen, but we try the throw off our back foot, couldn't get anything, and Bo Nix, 24-24, because our field goal kicker missed, scores a game-winning touchdown, and we lose. The rainy practices for this week were very fitting because we were all very sad. We just took the number 6 Oregon Ducks team all the way to the wire. If a fumble doesn't happen, we probably win, but we lost, and we're now 3-5 overall, and we've just got to find a way to get to 500 just to get bowl eligible. We're playing against Stanford, and we get things going early here on our first drive. 4th and goal, Chip calls a really good play. A lot of pressure off the left edge, but I'm able to show why I'm one of the best quarterbacks in the nation with my legs, and we ended up winning this game by 10. It was honestly, it felt like a blowout. It felt really good to be able to take a knee behind my center, and we win this game with relative ease, in my opinion. I was player of the game with really just a fine stat line, 255 yards and 2 total tutties. Our next week was against the 2-6 Arizona team, who we were able to beat pretty easily again, but our following week, we had to travel all the way to Scottsdale, and trying to avoid getting caught with some college honeys, we have to find a way to beat this ASU team. It was a back-and-forth game, and with just under a minute left in the 3rd, I found us trying to take the lead or at least tie the game on this drive. Back-to-back out routes to the right side got us deep into enemy territory, and with the 4th quarter right here, I throw the ball away just to give us some more life, but I take a bad hit to my knee. I twist it. I'm on the ground, and I have to go out for the rest of the game. I watch ASU run the rest of the clock out, and a game that I felt like we could have won, we lost. The injury wasn't too bad, as the next week I was back, but we had to take on our rivals, the USC Trojans. They were ranked so high, and this was a game that if we won, we'd remain bowl eligible, but if we lost, the season was over right here, and we were playing it on our home turf. We started with an option call that gets a huge yardage on the right side, and I throw an absolute beam over the middle, and he's fighting to get into the end zone, but he can't get there. We do for a halfback toss into the right side of our running back to get a rushing touchdown. 7-7, and I think I'm going to have to deliver a shootout right here to be able to stay in the game. Pegan able to deliver it all the way down to the 3, and another rushing touchdown for a halfback. I like the stats for myself, but I don't mind getting other people involved sometimes. Now, over the middle of the field, an absolute laser to Jake Bobo. and up 31-17. Caleb Williams is trying to do everything he can to force a comeback. He's going to deliver an absolute rocket into the middle of the field, but it's picked off by the Bruins defense, and we are able to upset number 6 USC. We lost to number 6 Oregon Ducks. We beat USC, our big rivals, and we are so happy. We're still bowl eligible. We finished the season in the Pac-12, finished at 6, and with a 6-6 record, a whole lot of 6s on the field, and we are going to go on to the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl against the Boise State Broncos. This game was honestly a blowout for the most part. I delivered one of the best throws of my entire career to that right sideline in the end of half, and a read option with just over a minute left in the fourth quarter shows off how fast I am in one of the final games, possibly my final game ever in a Bruins uniform. We need the ball to end it, win by 17, and that is the end of the season. I finished with over 500 total yards and 6 touchdowns. We're so happy about the win. I'm happy for the seniors, but I'm wondering, is this my final game as a UCLA Bruin? After winning a natty my junior year, I had 2 choices: declare for the NFL draft where I was projected 2nd round pick, or come back to Michigan and try to win a Heisman to improve my draft stock and go back to back with the Wolverines. I chose one final year in Ann Arbor with my boys. We started the season as the Heisman frontrunner and ranked the number 3rd seed in the nation, meaning that we had a little bit of room to grow. Our opening game was against Hawaii, and it started out as an absolute laser show. The Hawaii defense, they traveled like 2,000 miles just to get absolutely pooped on by Scott Davidson. We got a huge gain on the first play. I yelled, "Get to the line! Get to the line!" We snapped it quickly, looking to the right side. We threw a laser to the back corner for a touchdown, up 7-0 with the ball. Still in the first quarter, we threw another dot over the middle to Tyler Morris, and then 14-0. They blow the coverage on the left side, and we deliver just an absolute beam right there. Now, not only am I going for the natty and the Heisman, but we're also going for the number 1 overall draft pick, so I'm trying to show off my arm talent. And right here, the pocket does a good job of holding up for me, but no one's open. We have to roll to the left side, the wrong side, across our body. We launch it, we flick the wrist, and we hit our receiver in stride up the left sideline. That's one of the greatest throws you could possibly have. We broke the single-game passing record for our school, and Harbaugh decided to take me out to make sure I did not get hurt at any point. We got player of the game with 8 touchdowns and 18 for 18 passing. The following week, the weather was nasty in our game against Ball State, but it was going to be another showing of a defense that had no chance of stopping us. We put the ball on the ground quite a bit to begin, but they were kind of hitting me kind of hard, so I asked Coach to give me a shot play, and he called 4 verts because Jim Harbaugh loves to throw that rock. And I delivered an absolute beaut of a pass to Tyler Morris for a touchdown. We were running the ball again on 3rd and 2, but they kept on hitting me really hard, so I just wanted to drop back and pass. The O-line did amazing as I delivered another breadbasket catch for a touchdown. 21-0 in the second quarter. I decided to make something out of nothing, throwing it off my back foot, but Loveland decides to drop it. That's actually our first incompletion of the season right there, believe it or not. 3rd and 19, we need to make a play happen right up the seam. Loveland was able to catch that one for a touchdown. We were up a lot, but I took this read option to the right side. I had one guy to miss, so I went for a hurdle and got absolutely flipped upside down. Jim Harbaugh took me out right there, but coach, that's my signature move. How do you want me to not hurdle right there? Whatever, we won. I was happy to see after that game that I had gained a lot of my coach's trust, and we were opening off Big Ten play against a PJ Fleck coach Minnesota Gophers, and honestly, these guys didn't have a ton of chance where we broke 2 tackles right there, going across our body. We're going to throw a laser, but it almost got picked off. I was pretty upset that I couldn't deliver a highlight reel play, but coming on the ball, getting the ball right back, we were able to deliver a little baby dot, another baby dot, and I'm starting to just work within the system here, not trying to make highlight plays. We need to win this game. A loss would be really bad, obviously, especially in Big Ten play as we're going for a conference championship. Rolling to the left side, now we get a chance for a highlight play right here, and we get one. It wasn't as cool as earlier, but it's still cool. The frat bros went crazy as they talked about how they're going to a total rager later that was definitely going to have a bunch of babes and not be a sausage fest, and we got to hold up the little brown jug. We had to play Deion Sanders' Colorado Buffaloes the next week, and let me tell you, it became pretty obvious that they were coming. Because on the very first drive, I was rolling around trying to make something happen, a spectacular play, and they hit me so hard that I was hurt and I was laying on the ground for a while. I had to come back into the game in the second quarter, though, as we were only up 3, but like pretty much right again. I tried making a huge play, and they hurt me again, and my head was throbbing. Thankfully, though, this is Big Ten football, so we don't care about injuries. The boosters bought out the doctor, and we're right back in the game in the fourth quarter. We're down by 1, and we're about to get upset by Buffalo as I get sacked and lose the ball. Yeah, my head hurt because I forgot to hold on to the ball, and now I'm in an angry fit of rage. Everybody was pretty shocked that we were down 8 with under a minute and a half to go right now against Colorado, who's literally unranked. I had to put together a nice drive right here to be able to get us into scoring range and actually score and get the 2. Kenny Shelton caught an out route right there, and then another out route from Kenny Shelton on the right side this time got us within 2 points. We had a 2-point conversion right here, which I was very scared on, but thankfully they blew their coverage and we had a wide open laser. 14-14, we were happy. I thought this game was going to go into overtime, but our defense choked and their kicker made the game-winning kick. I had one shot at a Hail Mary, but I don't have that good of an arm, and it got deflected, and we just lost to the Deion Sanders Colorado Buffalo. He was coming. I was relieved to see that I was still the Heisman frontrunner, but I knew that we really couldn't afford another close game like that, especially to a team that bad. So against Old Dominion, we were able to score quickly, and I was on my A game, looking for this out route on the right side again. These outs are getting so open for us pretty consistently. Coach called a run play for me, and we were able to get a rushing touchdown, and then on 1st and 10, I delivered another dot to Kenny Shelton. We were able to get a pretty easy bounce-back victory versus Old Dominion. Against Purdue the following week, we were up 21 in the fourth quarter, and Jim Harbaugh just told me to keep the ball in my hands to be able to ice this game out. And we actually had back-to-back really big runs, which was good not only for my Heisman voting, but for the NFL scouts watching to be able to see my top-end speed. And this marked back-to-back wins for us to get right back on track, but we had a huge game coming up against the really good Michigan State Spartans. Considering we were at home and the stands were full of maize and blue, I really thought this was going to be an easy game, especially as we opened off with this dot to the right sideline, and then the Seaman Demon himself, Andrew Hills, was able to catch this touchdown on the right side. But I was surprised to see that we were about to go into overtime against Michigan State, which was really scary. We got ball first, and we had to strike fast, and I delivered another really good pass right there to Kenny Shelton. They answered back, though, on 4th and 9. They exploited our cover 2 on that left sideline, and they were able to tie the game right back up. They opened the next period off getting ball first, and they scored another touchdown, meaning the pressure was on me, and I delivered a really tight pass right there that I was very scared about. The extra point was nerve-wracking, but we were able to make it to tie the game and send it into another overtime period. On 3rd and 8, our defense got to stop. Their kicker made the field goal, and as I broke the huddle and got to the line, I realized a touchdown would win the game. I looked to the right side, saw Seaman Demon Kenny Shelton open, touchdown. I had just led a money drive against Michigan State to win the game. The frat bros were going crazy, ready to snore all types of lines, playing, doing whatever they wanted to after the game, and I got to hold up that glorious Paul Bunyan trophy. We had to play number 9 ranked Penn State, and this was a rematch of last year's national championship game, so there was a lot of bad blood on the table right here. We were able to break a read option, though, for a huge touchdown and scored right in front of our student section, and then up 7-0 right before the end of the first quarter. Kenny Shelton found a crack in the defense for another touchdown. Now, in the third quarter, we were up 14, and everybody knows a 3-possession game is basically unsurmountable to come back. So I tried putting the dagger in, but Donald Driver's son actually picked me off in coverage. He got a pretty big return off of this, and they came very close to coming back as 3rd and 2, we broke the huddle, and we needed a first down to be able to secure the W. We ran a read option. They bit on it. We were able to scramble for the first, thankfully, and now all we had to do was run out the clock, and on 3rd and 13, took another read option, came up a little bit short the first down, and for some reason, Jim Harbaugh had me punting. I'm not sure why, but it didn't matter as we still won the game. Our game in Cornhusker Country was pretty fun as it was a snowy game, which, as long as you're winning those, it's pretty fun. We were able to deliver this throw across our body, which I was showing that we were pretty much able to do this with ease, but our next week was the game against the Buckeyes. This was a huge game as we traveled to Columbus, as we were the number 2 seed and they're the number 7 seed. If we lost, we would not be making the Natty. Kenny Shelton had a huge catch right there to the left sideline, and then we were able to throw a dot on this wheel route for our touchdown in the second quarter. It was 13-14 now, right before the end of the first half, and I needed to make a play. Our offensive line was holding up strong, but I still had to have pretty good pocket presence, making people miss, and then we scrambled out as nobody was able to get open, threw somebody off of us, and then we were up the sideline. We cut inside, cut again, and we were able to throw another person off of us before we got taken down for a 17-yard rush. This demoralized the Buckeyes, and we were able to take advantage as they blew their coverage over the middle, and then blew it yet again to Kenny Kenny Shelton, who was able to get us down to the 10-yard line. I yelled, "Get to the line!" We hurried left sideline. They blew their coverage. We were able to throw a dot for a touchdown before the end of the first half. And this was pretty much all we needed to be able to take a huge lead on the Buckeyes, as they were not able to recover from that. And honestly, I wouldn't be able to recover either. This touchdown here in the third quarter was pretty funny, as we had wide open space, but I did my usual jurtle into the end zone, and we took a game-winning kneel against the Ohio State Buckeyes. This was a huge victory for us in Wolverine Nation. The Big Ten title game was between us and the Badgers, and this was the game that also decided who was going to the national championship. As I broke the huddle in the fourth quarter, down 1, I knew that the entire season was riding on this drive. We were able to hit a baby dot to the right side on a flat route, and then on 2nd and 3, Jim Harbaugh took a shot play. We had all the time in the world. We were able to deliver a laser down the right sideline. It was caught in bounds. The game was now in the kicker's hands to give us a 2-point victory. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. The kick is up. The kick is through. All the defense needs to do is hold for 20 seconds. Last play of the game, he's going for a Hail Mary. The D-line's able to get a huge sack on the Badger quarterback, and we are Big Ten champions and secure our bid to the national championship game. I also was able to secure my Heisman Trophy, and now we just needed to win that championship. It was nice to see that it even bumped us to the number 1 seed here, and we had to play the North Carolina Tar Heels, and we were looking to answer early with a touchdown over the middle. 42-17 it became in the fourth quarter, and this touchdown to Kenny Shelton was the absolute dagger. All of their hopes and dreams were crushed at the hands of Scott Davidson, and Jim Harbaugh usually would bench me here to get the bench warmer some time, but I got to score my final collegiate touchdown right here, cutting to the outside. Touchdown, Scott Davidson. We win the national championship back to back. And Scott Davidson went to the NFL draft and was the number 1 overall pick to the Houston Texans.